Hello, Namaste. My name is Kamlesh Kapoor, and we are still on 101 Introduction to Dharma, Lesson 7. Today, we are going to understand what exactly Hindus worship, whether in the temples, at home, or in any kind of during any kind of ceremony. What exactly do they worship? And if they worship nature, then how do they do that? So this is the thrust of the lesson. So we are gradually building up certain fundamentals in a certain sequence. You see, this method of teaching is called sequential learning system. By this time, you must have seen a certain pattern. We talk about, in the sequence, fundamental aspects of Dharma. One angle, one aspect at a time. Students then build connections with other aspects. So nothing is like in isolation. Even though we talk about nature, we also talk about the self. But then we find a connection. How do we connect these aspects? Most importantly, these lessons point out to the major issues and problems which are affecting the entire humanity in these times. It's frighteningly clear to us that unless we examine our attitude towards each other, know our own self, and then try to reach across building relationship with everything around, not just with nature, but all living entities. So this is the challenge that we are facing today. And that is why it is very important to understand what are the Hindu beliefs that are so relevant in these times. Having said that, let us capture the essence of the last lesson. The lesson number 6, we were talking about God. And we, some of the myths surrounding the word God, we were trying to dismantle them. Such as, so we established God behaves like the people who created him. And that is not what the divine energy is. So man created God. How did he create God? This mythical narration or a superficial kind of understanding of the cosmos lead us to believe that God behaves like the people who created him. Man created God in his own image, giving him the qualities that he possessed at the time he created it. He's insecure, he's violent, and with very little knowledge of the world, its culture, environment, and diversity, people try to impose this very concept on others. And that is where all the conflicts and all the hostilities and distrust begin. Human judgments and presumptions. You see, you suppose something and you make a judgment, arrive at a certain conclusion. These become the basis of the nature of God, which were humans at the time they were living on the earth. And then they perceive it as cruel, vindictive, loving to his followers. Then they also extend it to the logic that there are people who are his chosen people. And now these kind of emotions, discrimination, violence, anger, revengefulness, love, mercy, these are human emotions. And the loving God, if there is one, he is impartial. and just and fair. So when asked to follow strictly dictates of their God or idea of God, these weaknesses become the basis of socio-personal norms, and they govern our social behavior, our own human mindset. And we have to really try to dismantle this whole setup or belief, blind faith kind of thing. Now let's see nature worship. Nature worship exactly is environmentalism. You recognize the energies of the nation and the nature that sustain our life. That is for sure. Everybody agrees. If they don't agree with that, then they would stop eating. But that's not happening. So showing reverence for the natural phenomena and then addressing all the different energies by name, that is connection between nature worship and our own attitudes. So for example, there's a chant, mantra, which is Om Varunai Namaha. Nama means I bow to you. So it reveres the sources of water, the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, all bodies of water we revere. Because without water, there's no life. Then we appreciate the bounties and gifts the nature has given us, Prakriti has created for us. We also accept that we humans are not alone in this universe, on this planet at least. We share it. And we accept that all those entities, living things, they are sacred as well because they are created by the same creator. And then if we respect the nature, preserve the environment, preserve the balance between different species, and do not violate the natural law, we are actually maintaining the ecological balance. Hindus not only show reverence to devas, these energies, they offer they surrender to them as well. Whether devas are in fury, like in hurricane and tornado, a very destructive mode. Three main devas are involved, as we said before in the previous lesson: Varun, Vayu, air, and Indra, the lightning system. So in other words, reverence for nature is preserving environmentalism. So how do we show respect and appreciation? We do the singing. All these chants in the Vedas and in subsequent literature for a very long time, it was an oral tradition. And since it was lyrical, like poems, they could be preserved through the oral tradition. This kind of tradition is called Shruti. Shruti means you listen, it reverberates, you remember, you chant. Now these mantras, they have a certain pattern. In the first part of the verse, we sing the glories and describe the glories. Say, for example, the glories of the sun. And then in the second verse, we offer our respect. So let us learn a couple of chants. Here is one verse, which is for, as you lay down the foundation of your own house, you say breaking the earth, groundbreaking ceremony. At that time, you are actually breaking the earth, part of the earth, in order to lay down the foundations. And the mantra says, that uh, you, entire Earth, the landmass, is in the water system, and the mountains are your chest, and you are the consort of the Creator, and still I am putting my feet on you, and please excuse me for that. So the lyrical chant is such that it gives a kind of change of mindset as well. So it says, Samudravasane Devi Parvatastanna Mandale Vishnu Patnin Vastubhyam Padasparsham Kshamasome. Forgive me for that. So this is how we show our devotion, and we show our humility, humble offering. Now, worship of the moon. Most cultures, they worship moon. But we worship moon for the specific reasons. The effect of the moon on the human body. The moon creates balance of water in the body as well as on the oceans, on the planet. So entire circulatory system of the water flow is governed by the moon. You know that what happens during the tides and the ebbing tide, and what happens when the full moon is there, and on top of that there is a storm, what kind of wreck happens. This is all the closeness of the moon or the effect of the moon on the water system, which is disturbed. So Hindus observe fast on various phases of the moon. Actually, there are so many fasts in Hindu Dharma. You will be amazed, almost half the time Hindus are fasting, the other half they are celebrating the glories of the divine. So we Hindus observe fast on the new moon, on the full moon, on the 11th day of each phase of the moon. And they chant also. So they say, Om Chandraya Namaha. So Chandra is moon, and Namaha means, by this time you should understand, Namaha means I bow to you. So we offer our prayers like that. And then many people observe fast on Mondays, which is considered the day of the moon somehow. In other words, worship of the moon is extremely common, and not just in Hindu Dharma, among the Buddha also, Jains also, and even Islam, they have a worship of the moon. And their holidays are, religious days are connected with the phases of the moon. Now, worship of nature is not a new thing to Hindu Dharma alone. It has been prevalent among all the major belief systems before 2000 years. Like prior to 2000, from current era, the millennia before, there were Egyptians, there were Babylonians, or all the river valley civilization in India, in Asia. All of them worshipped sun. And the word is Ra. So those who learned Egyptian civilization, they know that they're, we say God, but actually the power that they worship was the sun, and they called it Ra. Ra literally means light in Sanskrit. That spreads all around. So that means they worship the sun, the light. Light of the sun, every name has Ra in it. when in Sanskrit there are so many words for the sun, and in many other languages also there is the name for the sun has Ra in it, the light. Like in Sanskrit, Surya, Ravi, Bhaskar, Prabhakar, Savitur, Mitra, Dinakar, Divakar, like that. In Egypt, it was just Ra. In Arabic, it is Ra, Ab, Rab. The divine that prevails from the light above to the water below. All that pervades is Rab. And this is the closest probably name, most acceptable for the divine entity. All that pervades from the sun, from the light to the darkness of the ocean is the divine creator, Rab. So this way, Ra is a very important word, and that denotes the sun or the light. So entire humanity worships sun at one or other time in their history. Hindus have been worshipping forever. And even now, for almost all Hindus, the day starts with Surya Namaskar, which is different postures, 12 different postures. And they do that, Surya Namaskar yoga, and they also offer their prayer addressing Surya, sun, by different names. Here is a mantra, which is the most famous and most people chant in the morning. The light also refers to enlightenment and enlightened speech. So this mantra is done, Gayatri mantra, in the morning and also in the beginning of the school year, and almost all the time when you're thinking of enlightenment, knowledge, and good speech. So Gayatri mantra say, Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. This means that you pervade the entire solar system, and I can see that it can be described. Let your light come to my mind and let it become more and more strong. And then there is Om Vishwani Deva Savitur. Again, Savitur is the name of sun. Om Vishwani Deva Savitur Duritani Parasuva Yad Bhadran Tanna Asuva. Now this is that, O sun, take all the negative things and my enemies away from me, keep them away, and all the good people, bring them near me. So again, these are prayers. One may do in a different way, but we do it in the lyrics which were created all these 8,000-9,000 years, and still are the same, because that is poetry. Many times, to build the focus, we chant, and then we also have some kind of picture of the energy, or we have a statue, some kind of symbolic thing which can remind you what we are focusing on. So for example, we put an earthen pot or bronze pot full of water. So that means we are praying to water. Similarly, we put a symbol of air in the form of a monkey which moves with the speed of air symbolically, and that is for focus. So these are a couple of examples. We'll go into symbolism in the second course or third course. Right now, we are still on the building blocks in the sequential learning system, various concepts, and how they are connected to modern life. How is mankind destroying the nature these days? Everybody knows. There's pollution everywhere. I mean, human beings have created pollution in the space. They have created pollution in the waters, on the mountains, by throwing away oxygen, empty oxygen tanks. All kind of, on the earth, everywhere, all sources of natural existence has been polluted. Then there is deforestation. Unnecessarily, we keep on destroying trees and forests. And we destroy the balance, ecological balance. Then we torture other species, other forms of life. We don't think that the divine is in that. So the ego takes over that we are the masters of all that exists. Whereas we, along with others, coexist on this planet. And that is Hindus' fundamental belief. The hunting for fun. This is absolutely gory, that you enjoy killing an animal, a living, beautiful animal. Destabilizing the mountains. This is something I was appalled to see, how those people, they use boulders to move the mountains in order to find a few precious gems. How they destabilize the mountains and how it will cause the entire balance underneath the surface of the earth, I think you can all imagine. And most of all, humans are killing humans. So these are all destruction of the nature and destruction of all that is fine that the divine has created for us. Now, what is our responsibility? Very quickly. Loving this wonderful nature is crucial. It's extremely relevant, and most people think themselves, as I said, they're masters of the planet and of everything that exists. Actually, we are just part of the ecosystem. Many species have become extinct. Whose fault? Obviously, our fault. Many species are endangered because reckless killing for profits. Shouldn't we say enough is enough now? Now, water is everywhere. Go to the beaches, go to the rivers, lakes. But is it drinkable? Probably not. So if we do not change our attitudes, our descendants will have fewer natural resources, less breathable air, and polluted water. This is the message for humanity. And this is the lesson Hindus worshipping nature. Even if you do not worship nature, show respect. There is some slight change in the attitudes. People have started saying Mother Nature. Good. They are also saying Mother Earth. Acceptable. But beyond that, we really have to resolve to respect it to that extent that we do not disturb the ecological balance or the environmental perspective. Having said that, I'll see you next time with lesson 8. Thank you very much. And just a reminder, if anybody has question, please under the comments, put down your questions and queries and anything that you want me to further explain, I'll do so under your comments. Thank you again and namaste.